a family reunion in Canada. My husband went pale and whispered, "Turn the car around now." When I found out why, I never saw my parents the same way again. The plan was simple. Drive a few hours, cross the border, hug relatives, pretend to enjoy potato salad. I was driving with our 3 kids in the back seat, ages 5, 7, and 10, half watching cartoons and arguing over invisible seat lines. Then my husband said it. "Turn around now." I laughed at first, thinking he was joking. But he didn't laugh back. He just stared straight ahead and repeated, "Please, just turn around." My husband doesn't do panic. I've seen him handle a kitchen fire with less tension. So I took the next exit, the last one before the border. "Want to tell me what's going on?" I asked once we were off the highway. "Just drive," he said. His body finally relaxed. The kids started noticing. "Are we going the wrong way?" "We forgot something," I said automatically. 20 minutes of silence. Then he said, "Take the next turnoff." It led nowhere. A narrow access road. One of those places you only find when you're lost or about to be. He got out and walked to the trunk. "Can you come out?" he asked through my window. My heart was pounding as I followed him. He opened the trunk and pointed to the red duffel bag my parents had given us that morning. He unzipped it and folded back a sweatshirt. That's when everything stopped. Inside, stuffed in a toiletry bag, were packets. Sealed in plastic. Not medicine, not vitamins, nothing that didn't include handcuffs and lawyers. I couldn't breathe. "They put that in our car," I finally managed to say. "With the kids," he nodded. "How did you know?" "When they gave us the bag," he said slowly. Something in their eyes. The way they smiled, like it was already done. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Then just before the border, it hit me. 4 months earlier, they'd asked me to help pay for my nephew's private school. Thousands of dollars they couldn't afford. I'd said no. "I have 3 kids of my own. We don't do private school." They went cold after that. Then suddenly, right before this trip, everything was cheerful. They'd figured things out. The school, the money, everything was working out. And they asked if we'd take an extra bag in our car. Their car was too full. I took it without thinking. Didn't wonder why the people who were supposedly broke were suddenly so relaxed and happy. Now, I understood why. We drove to their house in silence. My phone kept buzzing. My mom, my dad, calling over and over. We didn't answer. We let ourselves in with the hidden key and placed the red duffel bag inside their hallway. Just set it down and walked out. Later that day, after the kids were asleep, I finally answered my mother's call. "Oh, honey, we were so worried," she said, voice bright and fake. "You just disappeared." I didn't say anything. "Where's the bag?" I let that hang for a second. "We dropped it off at your house. If it was that important, maybe you should have taken it yourself." Silence. Then, that catch in her voice that told me she knew exactly what I meant. "We're not doing this," I said. "Don't call again." I hung up. 3 days later, they showed up at my door. "We didn't know how much you understood," my mom said. "You put it in our trunk," I replied, "with your grandchildren in the back seat." "We didn't think it would be a big deal," my dad said. "We were desperate. You wouldn't help." There it was. My refusal to pay for private school somehow made this my fault. "You risked our lives," I said. "You risked your grandchildren. We're done. Don't call. Don't come here. You don't get to see the kids." My mom smiled that knowing smile. "You'll come around. You always do." I turned around, walked inside, and locked the door. 3 days later, I showed up at school to pick up the kids. They weren't there. "Your parents already picked them up," the teacher said. "They said you'd ask them to." They were at my parents' house. The scene looked like a birthday party explosion. Toys, candy, balloons, a Lego set that cost more than my grocery budget. The kids were glowing. My parents had never spoiled them before. Not like this. This wasn't love. This was emotional bribery. "We're leaving," I said. "They'll come back to us." My mom called as we left. They always do. That night, I told my husband, "We have to leave. I don't want them near the kids. Not at school, not anywhere." Within months, we transferred to North Carolina. New state, new schools, his parents nearby. We didn't tell anyone where we went. We blocked numbers and disappeared. 6 months later, I got an email from my sister. "Emergency. Please read." Our parents had been arrested. They tried to smuggle drugs across the border themselves this time. No family scapegoats. They need help. They need money for a lawyer. Your family. I hit reply and wrote, "I showed up once. I'm not doing it again." They took a plea deal. 4 years each.